Hello, hello. My name is Bianca. I am a womb practitioner, a womb awakener, as well as a postpartum doula, with particularly working in the field or in the realm of postpartum healing, post abortion, post miscarriage, as well as post birth. All right, so today I'm going to be teaching, okay, about womb healing and nervous system regulation and how this should be integrated together at the same time so that there's harmony in your life. All right, I'm also going to be utilizing the dis-ease or the womb dis-ease. I'll be discussing the womb dis-ease fibroids. All right. Now, I have never had fibroids per se, but fibroids runs in my family, in my bloodline. So we're going to get into it, but why I chose to speak about fibroids is because it's a very popular womb disease that women go through, okay, especially melanated women, black women. Now, I'm going to start. Okay, so this is definitely something that you want to pay attention to. We don't talk about nervous system regulation and emotional mastery often in our community. Okay, it's not spoken of really in the black community, but also if you're from the Caribbean, like me, that's definitely nothing that anyone is talking about. No one's talking about emotions, you know, and yeah, this is where we at with it right now, especially as women. Women really have to, like my other previous videos, we have to master our emotions in order to get our lives together. Because the reasons why our lives are the way that it is because of a lack of emotional mastery. So let's go. We are going to kind of get straight to the point when it comes to the spiritual manifestations of fibroids. When it comes to the womb disease, fibroids, when it comes to any womb disease, before it becomes real on the physical, it has to manifest in the spiritual realm. Excuse me, I'm about to go drink some water. Okay. So what does that mean? What I mean by that is that, okay, what is fibroids? Fibroids is a benign tumor and or a cyst or a cyst-like solidified figurine, right? Because if you really do look at a fibroid under a microscope, I say figurine, it is a real live entity, okay? A fibroid does have its own facial features. When you look at it under a microscope, it has teeth. Okay, so it is a real live entity, and we're going to get into how that relates and connects to the spiritual manifestation of it. I'm here to discuss the spiritual manifestations of diseases. I don't talk about, or I'm not focused as a womb practitioner that does deep inner work. I am not focused on the superficial aspects of healing anymore. Sorry, y'all. Just getting over a cold, okay? We're going to be all right. Again, the reason being is because before anything calcifies into the physical, right, becomes hardened into the physical, forms in the physical, it must have survived in the spiritual for a long time. Okay? That means you've been ignoring problems for a long time. And if it's something that you were born with, right? Maybe it's not fibroids, but sometimes people say, but what if it's something that, I'm a young girl, never had sex before, and I got this before, and I got this as a young girl, da 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 da. It's ancestral. Okay? If you feel as though you eat the right things, you're healthy overall, and you cleanse a lot, you detoxify a lot, you have healthy bowel movements, right? If you that girl, or if you that woman, then again, we got to look at what's ancestral as well. It's both spiritual and ancestral. Okay, now, when it comes to fibroids, there is something that connects you to, or there is something that happened to you as a young woman where it negated your femininity. Maybe your parents negated the fact that you were a feminine being. Maybe your mother, right, negated the fact that you were supposed to be, beautified and loved on and affirmed. We're going to talk about it. So that's what fibroids is. The spiritual manifestation of fibroids is usually women that have fibroids. And I'm going to talk about my mother. I always use her as examples, just because, it's better for dialogue. When it comes to your femininity, your sexuality, your womanhood, as well as motherhood. When it comes to these four pillars, there's obstruction within these lanes, within these avenues. Okay, so there's deep-rooted shame within these pillars, that lives within these pillars, whether you are a mother or how you experience your mother. There's shame, okay, and there's some sort of hatred as well that lives inside of you. When it comes to your relationship with your mother in general, the mother aspect, right, of it could even be the universal mother, right, if you've never met your mother. But no matter what, when you connect to the feminine, when you were connecting to the feminine as a young woman, you had a bad connotation about the feminine. Like for women that maybe they didn't even know their mother. If you did grow up with your mother, there is a bad connotation between you and the recollection of the relationship dynamics between you and your mother. Either well, not even you. Let's start with your mother was overly motherly to you, okay? And then now you have become your mother. You are overly motherly to everyone in your life. Okay? That is one of the ultimate manifestations of how a woman keeps getting fibroids or has had fibroids in the past. Okay? Spiritual manifestations, energetic manifestations. And you might say, how is that spiritual when, we're talking about physical bodies? We're talking about my mother here. This is all physical. How is that spiritual? Because all of the pain and the trauma was decoded through your nervous system. Okay, and that is spiritual. Your nervous system is spiritual. You can't see it, but it's happening very quietly on the inside. Okay. So when it comes to fibroids and the spiritual manifestation of fibroids, the energetic manifestation of fibroids, there is a misuse of energy. There is the betrayal of self. It's a whole lot of self-betrayal going on. It's so dense because self-betrayal of everything, if everything is energy, the more energy you create in one space, right? You constantly betraying yourself. Each time you betray yourself, you densify a specific energy. Okay? And that specific energy, which is no good for you, okay? It's painful for you, but you still continue to do it. It densifies, like sort densifies. It gets dense. It gets more dense. And then this right here, this ball, that's the fibroid, that's the cyst. That's dense energy. Dense energy is self-betraying energy. That self-betrayal, ignoring your intuition constantly, it forms dense energy. It forms a big old rock in your heart, right? Not only does it harden your heart space, because the heart and the womb is interconnected, it hardens in the space that is the weakest. And the weakest space, or the weakest organ, is your womb, is your uterus, because what you're dealing with is a mother wound. The mother wound is connected to the moon cycle. The mother wound is a moon wound. It's a water wound. Where does the most water, you can hold the most water in your womb, okay? And you know this by way of, if you understand that when you have a child, there is what's the, how I forget the name of it again, the amniotic fluid, right? The amniotic fluid. So again, the weakest organ is your uterus, is your womb, because the mother wound, that is the energy of the fibroid, is it's happening here in the womb. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Everyone is getting nursed. Everyone becomes a healing project to you. Okay? There's too many healing projects in your life. You healing her, you healing him, you caring for him, you a caretaker for her. Okay? And you've got to let it go, right? But it's deeper than that. It's harder for you, or it's hard in your mind, right? Your mental, to let it go. You feel as though you have to nurture people, or because there's some sort of reciprocity. Maybe you feel as though that's how you are going to be loved and cared for as well, only by overgiving your energy and overgiving your art forms, and your love is how you gonna receive love. It's how somebody's gonna come and look after you. So this is almost, these are lifelines, right? Life is a matter of life or death for you in your mind. Okay. So Not only are you constantly manifesting people that need to be cared for, this is so funny because my mother had this issue so bad, so bad. And when it comes to, she was also very religious, so she was taught through patriarchal programming that that's how she would have to be, or that's how she has to be, a giver, a constant giver, even if she's tired and has nothing else left in her, she's going to give. There was so many different moments where my mom was always often saving people, or in her mind she was saving them, when really she was being used. Okay, and I get it, we all get used. Life is about trade when it comes to people that we allow in our lives. Healthy trade is important though. Healthy reciprocity is important. This is not, what I mean is that a woman that has fibroids is a woman that wants to fix people, right? You always have a healing project. And the healing project is not necessarily somebody that is going to pour back into you. These healing projects are often very parasitical by nature, stealing something from you. Okay. When it comes to, I know I'm just like, whew, my legs hurt, y'all. Back. Okay. A woman with fibroids has no boundaries. And she has a big heart. Okay. A big old heart. My mother was a very warming spirit. Very magnetic woman for sure. And, definitely loved by many. But again, way too open. No protection. This is a woman that has fibroids. This is a woman that constantly is getting fibroids, or the fibroids is returning. It's because she's doing what she has to do to get rid of the fibroids. But after that, she's not protecting herself. There's no protection mechanism. There's no, there is a lack of understanding that you got to say no. Okay. So this woman, this woman is self-sacrificing. Self-sacrificing. Okay. A woman with fibroids is a woman that is self-sacrificing. Now you gotta go inward and say, what is it that I'm sacrificing? I'm sacrificing my peace. I'm sacrificing time for me to do my wellness practices. I'm sacrificing spending time alone with my mind so I can think. But yes. So again, when it comes to what I've seen in my experience, I began my womb healing journey right before the age where all the women in my family was getting fibroids. And I did not know that what I was doing was eliminating or healing me before I ever, got diagnosed with anything like that. Not to say I was, but it was almost if spirit knew. So I say that to say is why I share that with you is that, again, I didn't get it per se, but it runs or it ran in my family. I don't know how to say it. I like to look at things as it's already healing because I'm doing the healing work. So I'm healing 7 generations forward, 7 generations backwards. Um, Fibroids. We are talking about fibroids, y'all. Very, very important because this is something that is very popular as it pertains to women in the Black community, especially, right? Melanated women, brown women, Black women. Again, fibroids is benign tumors and or cysts in the womb. Fibroids has a face and facial features when you see it under the microscope. Okay, it has teeth and it has a face. So fibroids is an entity. Fibroids is a dark force that has entered your womb that you must cleanse through different realms, right? Through different mediums. Not only are you going to be doing physical cleansing, you are also going to be incorporating nervous system cleansing, nervous system not cleansing, nervous system alchemy or transmutation, nervous system healing in general. You got to rewire your nervous system. You got to retrain your nervous system. Your nervous system is like a computer and it's like you have to reprogram it. Okay, so the woman that has fibroids is, and after we get into this, I'm going to talk about how when you want to heal a womb ailment and what you got to do in regards to integrating nervous system recalibration or nervous system healing as well. Okay, because this is what I talk about. This is what I'm going to be teaching in my Back to Basin womb and water initiation class. And really it's going to just be a ritual that you're going to incorporate so that you can move forward and integrate your nervous system. I'll teach you, and I'm going to explain to you why this is important. Okay, the woman that has fibroids, she grew up most likely in a very misogynistic home. This home, and I know this is true, this home was a home that taught this woman, right, that men are superior than women, that the womb was only here for producing a child, right, or to serve man. Y'all know the whole deal. You know what's going on with. If you are up to, you already know. If you're listening to me, we know what's going on with when it comes to religious doctrine and patriarchal conditioning. So this woman most likely grew up in a religious home with a very misogynistic father. So fibroids does have a lot to do as well with the father, or with the father wound. Okay, so it's a lot to unpack. Fibroids is a lot to unpack. Okay. So not only is this woman a very guilty woman, a very shameful woman, she is also a woman that has not had any chance, or has not been taught how to process old emotions and old hurts and old pains, past hurts. Okay, so she's sitting on, and I'm not saying sitting on like literally, of course. She's sitting on so many different levels of trauma, so many things that's happened to her. She's experienced. None of it's been alchemized, none of it's been transmuted, none of it's been even digested. It's so much so that that's the way you know it hasn't been digested. See, the thing is, we have to understand that everything is spiritual. Fibroids, all womb diseases, all diseases in general, are spiritual before physical. But by the time it's become something, well, prior to its being something physical, while it's spiritual, you have the opportunity, intuitively, your body knows it will try to fight it. It will try to fight it and get rid of it. If there's some sort of trauma, your body wants to get rid of it. You ignored it for years. That's the thing. And you may not know how to get rid of it and digest it because it's trauma. It's not the same as a physical ailment, right? It's not the same as a cold. You know how to get rid of a cold. You take cold medicine. You don't know how to necessarily get rid of a specific thing that happened to you when you were young, right? It could be you were sexually assaulted. You would have to of course have the knowledge to understand how to digest all, meaning everything has to go through the body, through the portal, through the womb. It has to leave out. It has to leave and escape or be released through the womb after it goes through your digestive system. After you eat, the food must go down, esophagus, all the things, throat, down to all your digestive organs, and then down through your womb, release. Body takes what it needs, what's actually nourishing it, lets everything else go. When it comes to pain, when it comes to trauma, your body does have to digest all of it. Okay, it takes it in immediately. It's a blow to the body, but the body says, okay, I know what to do, whatever. Let's get it on out. Whether you got to get it on out through tears. Okay, tears is an offering. Tears is a way of digesting. Tears is a way of release. Through deep breathing, through shaking, through screaming. But you ain't scream. You didn't take a deep breath. You didn't shake. You didn't jump up and down. You didn't move your hips, right? You didn't do none of that. When it was just a tiny little seed drop of a trauma. And honestly, I'm not saying sexual assault is that. I just use that as an example, but what I'm saying is that the whatever the trauma is, it's like this. It could be so bad, right? It's either like this or like this, whatever it is. It could be like this. By the time it's 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, it done got so big. Your body cannot even hold it anymore. Your heart space can't hold it no more. I spoke about this in my last video. Your heart space can only hold so much. So what happens to you immediately, right? When something happens to you or to a woman, and she experiences some sort of traumatic issue, the immediate thing is that the heart receives it, and the heart receives a blow. The heart says, "Oh no, this is too much for me. I can't take this. This is, oh my God, I feel like I'm gonna die." Literally, your heart can explode, right? So what it does is it sends that trauma down to your womb space, because the womb is the void. the void is huge, right? It can literally deliver a baby. It has plenty of space down there. It'll just live there. That's the fibroid. That's the trauma. Okay? So, okay. I know we talking a lot about fibroids. I really wanted this to be brief, but um there's so many other different womb ailments that I discuss, right? That I teach about, because every womb disease has its own spiritual manifestation, right? Energetic imprint of how it came to be. It tells the story of how you ignored yourself for years, or how you are currently ignoring yourself. Even having chronic yeast infections, chronic bacterial vaginosis, even those things have specific energetic, spiritual representations or definitions, okay, as to why it manifested in your body, or why it continues to manifest in your body. So with the fibroids, again, because I spoke about the mother, this woman is someone that did not get to idolize her mother, right? Because you and your mother clashed. And so what you did was you did the polar opposite of what your mother said to do or to be, in a sense. So it is the rejection of the mother again. I spoke about this earlier, but I just wanted to reiterate. Okay? So maybe you didn't receive not only love, you didn't receive love from your mother, that's for sure, but maybe you didn't receive affirmations from your mother or being affirmed from your mother. So you have something called stifled creativity, right? This is, if you have fibroids, or if you've had fibroids, then you do experience having a lack of creativity. You don't feel creative, or you feel as though you could never create or finish your creation. Okay, even if it's something you think of. Okay, yes. So you desire a new life, right? So badly and desperately. That is a woman as well that has the fibroids manifest within her womb space, because she's locking again that dense energy with through her thoughts, especially her thinking that her life is terrible, that she's delayed, that she doesn't have what she wants. Her desires, she feels as though her desires are not hers. I said hers. Her desires are not hers, or they're too hard to acquire. And so she's desperate. This desperate energy is a woman that, if you have fibroids, then you have had a desperate energy to change, to want, like to desire. It's just, again, it's coming from a place of desperation as opposed to a place of receiving. Yeah. It's heavy, right? It's heavy because when you begin to do womb work, now we're finally gonna get into, oh, my back hurt, y'all. Oh my God, my back hurts so bad. We are, well, because this is not a chair with a back, but that's why. Now we're going to get into nervous system healing. Okay. When it comes to, I got a little bit of some notes what I want to talk about. So what did I say? Again, yes. Why you don't want to, why is it important that I'm connecting, I got some notes, connecting the nervous system to womb healing. It's important that you understand that when it comes to the nervous system, so that you don't self-sabotage and repeat mistakes over and over. Like if you're a woman that's prone to dating misogynistic men, right? You've come from a misogynistic home. Your father was a misogynist, maybe hated women and thought women were there to serve him. And then let's say now you are a woman that attracts a misogynist. But then you get out of the relationship somehow. Maybe you're forced to, right? Spirit guides, your ancestors, they're going to force you to get up out that relationship, and then you get in another one, right? So that's because your nervous system needs to be reprogrammed. Okay, like I said, think about your nervous system being a computer, and that your computer has an old software running, and it's playing over and over in a loop, of course, because that's the software. You haven't deleted the software and then installed a new software. That's what happens when you do nervous system healing. That's why it's important, because the thing about nervous system healing is that the thing about the womb is that womb work means that you're opening up a portal. We're going to end this soon. Womb work means that you're opening up a portal. When you do womb work, you're opening yourself up to a lot of heaviness. And had I known this prior, all these years I've been, doing womb work, and it's like I kept not only self-sabotaging, but I kept traumatizing myself. So yes, when you do womb work, you are opening up your portal to old ancestral traumas, right? Old ancestral karmic traumas, or survival patterns. So what I mean by that is that you're opening yourself up to old survival patterns. Those survival patterns are from the way that you thought that you had to survive as a young girl, right? Especially when you started dating men. And it's also old survival patterns of your grandmother and your great-grandmother and your mother. Okay? Their survival patterns, it could be you're going to have to do the work, but it could be to overgive. That's a survival pattern. Overgiving as a woman back in their day, right? Their life depended on it. If they didn't give to a man and they were raised in a misogynistic home, that man could beat their ass, right? Or beat their mother's ass, and saw their mother get beat up and washed up, used up, right? So womb work brings up those old survival patterns that you were given to by way of the nervous system from your mother's nervous system when she was most likely pregnant with you, and also while your grandmother was pregnant with your mother. your grandmother, if she was being abused or if she was living in a misogynistic home and one of her survival patterns was, again, overgiving, then all of that was ran through her nerves and her nervous system. Your mother got it and you got it too. And you have to. All right. So, yeah. When it comes to your grandmother, your mother, when it comes to your mother, your grandmother, your great grandmother, you know that you've literally have downloaded and what's been passed along to you from centuries ago based off of your great 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 grandmother, all the lives that they had to live. And for many of us, our ancestors had to live really tough lives because of patriarchy, because of the conditioning of women to stop women from awakening and being free, because a free woman is the all. She becomes one with nature. And because men fear nature, right? Because they fear mother nature, hence to why they're always destroying her, digging into her, drilling into her, literally. I forgot what you call it. Something that they do to the earth. They stick their big ass drills into Mother Earth, and it's really crazy when you think about it. It's like, and I listened to someone, a creator, and she's always saying, if we weren't powerful, if we weren't that powerful, why would they try to give us so many rules to stop us or to control us? Why would they try to control us so much, right? If we weren't as powerful as we were. So, again, yeah, this is a lot, y'all. It's heavy. Again, in my course, in my lesson, I call it, it's not a course, it's a lesson, it's a ritual, it's a class, but it's more than a class. It's an awakening, and it's an activation, and it's a guide. But again, in this class, back to Basin, a womb and water initiation, right? Because the reason why the womb and the water, right, has to come together is because the womb is the water, water is the womb. Water is the void. The womb is the void, right? The ocean is the void. The ocean is vast and dark and unexplainable. And that is the womb, right? Undefinable. You can't define her. So that's why, through a dream, by the way, I spoke to y'all about this in one of my videos, my last videos. Through a dream, I had a really expansive, very activating dream that was put into my subconscious, right? Like, I dreamt that dream just to heal. That was a healing dream, a nervous system reprogramming dream, because I allowed myself to. I was ready. I could hold more space. I was ready to hold more space. I had more capacity to hold. So although I didn't have it in my waking life, I have it while I sleep, and I am a vessel, and I'm very open and intuitively open to receiving the codes for the dreams and decoding it. Spirit knows when you're going to do the work, right? So they'll send you what they need to send you. They know you're going to do the work. If you're going to do the work, then, and this is the work, right? The work is to share this with you, because the dream had changed my psyche. It had rearranged, it had reprogrammed my nervous system when it came to the womb and the nervous system. I was ready. I was ready to finally integrate my nerves, my nervous system into all the womb work that I was doing so that I could stop self-sabotaging, as well as so that I can hold more space for newness and abundance in my life. You know, you might want something in your life, whatever it is, but you want it, you desire it. It could be a new car, it could be a new job that's going to set you up for your future, for your retirement plan. It could be a new home for you and your children. You know, maybe you don't want to live in an apartment anymore. Whatever it is, it's a big deal. Well, guess what? That big deal needs a lot of big open space so that it can be, so that you can drop it in there, right? That manifestation, that dream, that abundance needs to be, it needs to have space to live. And I was just thinking about, like, if you go to Trader Joe's, and you got all these fruits and vegetables, all this stuff that you want to get from there, and you get to the register and you're like, okay, I only want to spend 50 cents on a bag. How much is the other bag? And the cashier says it's $4. And you're like, I don't want to pay $4 for it, for a bag, right? So you pay the 50 cents. So now cashier is putting all your wishes and your desires, your fruits and your vegetables in the Trader Joe's bag, the 50-cent bag. And you're like, but I want more. I want all of this though. It's not going to fit. And the cashier says, no, sorry, right? It's not going to fit unless you get the bigger bag, right? So that's the thing, is that your desires needs and requires more capacity. Your desires requires more space. You ain't got no space in your heart. You ain't got no space in your womb. Excuse me. You got to clear that womb space. Simultaneously, you got to be energetically clearing out your nervous system, rebuilding it, deprogramming it, uninstalling the program, right? Uninstalling the programming, and then completely allowing for a new program to be installed in you. The new program, could come with a bunch of things. Like, it could come with the affirmation that I am everything that I, dream of, or that I'm everything that I think that I am, and I think it that I am amazing and beautiful and abundant and rich and all this stuff, right? You also, but not only do you have to say these things though, it also has to be embodied by way of the nervous system, meaning that you need to calm your nerves when fear comes up. You have to figure out ways where you're not, fear can come up, but you know how to recalibrate. You know how to, digest the fear. It's not make it go away. You know how to digest the fear, alchemize the fear. You know how to calm your nerves. So it's really just like, calm your nerves. You're not going to die. That's the thing about the nervous system. The nervous system took all of the things, all of the pains of your foremothers and what happened to them, and it was installed inside of their wombs, and it imprinted their wombs, which then imprinted your womb space, because you again come out of them and their portal, and it was installing all this fear of asking for more, fear of leaving, right? Bad situations. It's so deep. It's so deep, y'all. It's crazy. But you don't need any more rituals, okay? You don't need any more rituals. You need safety. This conversation was about safety. Do you feel safe in your body? That's how you can hold space for more. That's how you can open up the portal as well as integrate. Okay, so you're opening up wounds, doing your healing your fibroids, but then you need to integrate through nervous system healing, recalibration, and all the things. Okay. To close this out, again, when you do womb work, okay, so if you are, for example, if you're someone that has had fibroids, or you have currently have fibroids, or it's something that runs in your family, and you just you are passionate about this topic, and you are passionate about making sure that you heal your ancestral womb traumas, okay, or the ancestral womb imprints that were left um, behind for you to for you to download, but then of course for you to do the work and heal. Then again, you would have to understand that you are going to be opening up the portal. You're going to be opening up your womb space, because again, the womb is opened up through water. Okay, so if you say I want to do, I want to heal, and then you're going to have to utilize water. You're also going to have to utilize herbs. Water and herbs together, and heat. Okay? You're going to be using energy to heal your womb space. Okay? You're going to be using the elements to heal your womb space. When you decide to do this, you're also deciding to open. When you are open, you are going to soften. Womb steaming, for example, yoni steaming softens you up. Physically, it softens your vagina and the and parts of your vagina, so you may feel more juicy and wet, right? But then energetically, spiritually, you feel juicy and wet. What I mean is that you feel more creative, more alive. Okay. And again, you soften up in general. What does that mean though? It means that also you can be susceptible to receiving, or you become open to receiving. You do. That's not a bad thing. Womb work is beautiful work, right? But when you're not prepared properly, that's where the things can come. It can be a little, because you want to be open to receive it. You want to be open to receive. You want to receive. Then you got to make sure you know what you want to receive, though. What's your intention, right? Because what you're going to be open to receiving, it could be. You can't just be open. There's got to be boundaries, right? You have to be open to receiving. What is your intention? Open to receiving what? What's your intention? What do you want? You have to know what you want, so that nothing else can come in, because other things are going to want to come in too. Okay? And that's one thing that you want to make sure that you're paying attention, that you want to understand this concept. That's all. You want to understand this concept. Because again, I didn't know this concept. I just knew that every time that I would do, womb steaming or any kind of womb work, because there's just levels to it. There's so many different things you can do. You could open yourself up to shame as well. Like, say if you're doing womb work, but then you grew up in a very, again, misogynistic home, very religious, highly religious home, and then you want to do mirror work. You want to stare at your yoni. You want to yoni gaze. Guess what? Shame might come up. You might look at your yoni, and yeah, if you've been doing the work already, they're There could be good things that come up, but you don't know. Shame might come up too as well. It's just old things that will come up even in the midst of it, in the mix of it, right? You may not be 100% comfortable. So again, you are opening up the portal. You have to understand that when you're opening up your womb space, you're opening up, you're allowing for old energetic imprints to come up. Some are yours, some are ancestral. Okay? And it's just information. It's information of what's got to go, what can stay. If it was good things from your ancestors, that comes from the womb space too. Your ancestors were very gifted. So, or our ancestors were very gifted and magical to have been alive in such hard times and still, still were able to create. So, you're going to get both. All right. So, again, womb work was going to bring up, infant childhood trauma, like that pre-verbal trauma before you even learn how to speak. Womb work is bringing that up too. It's also going to bring old or reopen attachment wounds. Whew. Because again, when we are our babies and when we are children, that's one of the main things that we are learning how to do. We're learning to attach ourselves to the people that care for us, love us, affirm us. And if there's wounds in these placements, then they're going to come up. Again, survival patterns, old ancestral survival patterns are going to be coming up. Excuse me. And so, yeah. And so that's why you have to be able to understand that you're going to have to integrate your nervous system into all of this. So you got to bring the nervous system in, right? When the shame comes up, you got to, do whatever the practices are that you have to do, whatever the rituals are that you have to do, let's do it. Let's integrate. Okay. A lot of this is slow work. Okay. I don't want to say sensual, because womb work, yes, it's sensual work, but a lot of this is just slowing down and not feeling like you have to be rushing through healing, rushing through these rituals, rushing through these womb healing practices. Hell no, you don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. You want to take it easy on yourself. Do little by little, day by day. Pick a day to do a womb steam. And then that same day, though, you were supposed to be already calming your nerves. Since you woke up in the morning, you were supposed to be able to it's a together thing. Slow movement. Okay? That's why we utilize water, because water is, right? Water is that. And so that's why we utilize water. Because again, if you dry, when you cry, I spoke about this in my last video. Your tears are an offering. When you cry into the ocean, your tears become one with the ocean. So it's about becoming one. It's about your nervous system and healing your nervous system, the recalibration of your nervous system, the reprogramming of your nervous system, along with womb work. And it's about becoming one. That's what it's about. It's about literally the connection, the one. You the one. You the one, baby. And if you the one, then you got to become one. The feminine collective has to master her emotions and nervous system whilst doing womb work so that she can become one with herself. That's it. That's the T. Okay? That's the T. Yeah. That's it right there. So if you feel as though this resonated so much so with your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit, and all the things, if this really, was like, wow, jaw dropping. And again, it's about slowing down. If you are a highly sensitive woman, I always call out my sensitive women. If you are a mother that feels overwhelmed, if you are a woman that was not only ignored by your mother or have a very severed, non-existent relationship with your mother, and if you are an emotional woman, just very comfortable with your emotions, and yet you don't have a place for your emotions to land, or you haven't learned how to create a safe space for your emotions to land. Like, seriously, you don't have a actual space for your emotions, then you got to come talk to me. You got to come talk to me and join Back to Basin. Okay, join the class Back to Basin, a womb and water workshop. All right, it's going to be really, really amazing, because that's what we're going to talk about. Not even only what we're going to talk, we're not going to talk too much. It's really about doing, because that's what the nervous system, that's what becoming one with your nervous system is. It's about less mental work and more embodiment work. Okay, it's about more, okay, we're doing, but we're being. Not even doing, but being. Okay, becoming, again, one with ourselves so that we are not fractured or fractured beings. Yeah, I know I said it right, fractured. Okay, so we not in pieces. We need to be together, right? We need to be all the way together. And the reason being is that, again, being one with ourselves is how we, again, we stop self-inflicting pain on ourselves. This is how we begin to, end the era of self-sabotage and, stop going. And this is how we end the era of going back to our old selves and our old lives. And we begin to magnetize this new person, this new being, this new life. That's the way. It's going to be through ritual. It's going to be through becoming one with ourselves and putting the pieces back together, because we are fractured beings because of what we've gone through, what we've come from, the women that we have come from that were not one, that were not whole, and then they produced us, right? We, again, even as the feminine, we are whole when we come out, when we are born, but we do receive imprints, coded imprints, ancestral imprints, and ancestral markers, survival patterns. Again, we do receive these codes as well. Although we are, when we're born women, we are whole. Okay. But again, we come into this world and we become fractured as well, because society, programming, religion, patriarchy. So we have to mold ourselves to be one person or be like this, and then we want to be like this, so we part free, we part not, and it's all like, okay, so it's a lot, but yeah. Back to Basin, y'all. Back to the water we go. Back to the ocean we go, so we can become one. Because again, when you cry, and because tears is an offering, if you were to cry into the ocean right now, your tears become one with the ocean. Okay, so this is about becoming one with yourself. Back to Basin, a womb and water initiation. Join the class. February, I think it's February the 8th on a Sunday at 7 p.m. If not, it's the second February. It's the second, I said February. It's the second week of February on a Sunday at 7 p.m. Talk to me nice about it, okay? Leave me any messages that you want in the chat or below, and feel free to ask any questions about this class. It's going to be amazing. This ritual, it really is. That's what it's going to be. It's a ritual. Yeah. So yeah.